Chapter 1 Only a River. Captain Hendrick Hudson was disappointed. It was only a river, after all, and who cared for rivers when one was looking for a passage to India? Gloomily, he gave orders to turn around his clumsy little Dutch craft, the Halve Maan, or Half Moon, and to sail southward again from Castle Island, near the present city of Albany. As he made his way back through the heart of a magnificent wilderness, he did not realize, of course, that later generations would associate his name with one of the world's most beautiful rivers. Probably his thoughts were very little upon scenery as the Catskill Mountains came into view and disappeared to the westward, as the highlands rose on either bank, as the broad stretches of Haverstraw Bay and Tappan Zee slipped into the background, and the extraordinary wall of the Palisades frowned at last along the western shore. Just why this English sea captain had come adventuring into New York harbor in the year 1609 with a little high, square-sailed Dutch vessel is a curious story in itself, carrying us halfway across the world and back to the year 1453. For in the year 1453, the Turks captured the city of Constantinople, and when they raised their star and crescent over its ancient walls, they set in motion world forces which awakened Europe from the Dark Ages and opened the golden age of adventure. It was all much simpler than it sounds. Europe had acquired a taste for sugar, spices, and other staples which had to be imported from eastern lands. By 1453, such staples had become a large trade factor, and caravans of slow-stepping camels followed one another across the sands, laden with these much-coveted supplies. Then, suddenly, with the fall of Constantinople, Turkish scimitars barred the way across the desert trade routes. Men were cut off from their spice islands. Here was a direct challenge to the bold adventurers of Europe. They began to make the long journey around the Cape of Good Hope and across the Indian Ocean, and while many were lost, those who succeeded in bringing back cargoes gained rich rewards. Then arose the daring Columbus, who believed the world to be round and conceived the idea of reaching the east by sailing west. Of course, he failed, but his failure brought a great continent to the knowledge of Europe, and fastened the name Indian on a race that had never heard of India. Other explorers followed, a brilliant and dauntless procession, until gradually the outlines of America began to take form on the maps. Yet the idea persisted that somewhere there must be a passage which would lead through America and save thousands of miles to the east, if only it could be found. All up and down the coast nosed the awkward little craft of hopeful navigators in search of a doorway to the Orient. The great natural harbor that lay on the coast of North America at about 40 degrees latitude could not hope to remain long unexplored during such an age of adventure. All races, then as now, seemed fated to have a hand in the affairs of New York. In 1524, the Italian Giovanni Verrazzano, partly navigator, partly pirate, whose bust may be seen in Battery Park, entered the harbor, saw Manna-Hatin Island, and caught a glimpse of a great river, while the Portuguese Estevan Gomez sighted Sandy Hook the following winter, the one sailing under the orders of King Francis I of France, and the other exploring for the Spanish king, Charles V. Nothing came of these trips, however, save a tantalizing rumor, traceable to the map drawn by Verrazzano's brother, Girolamo, that somewhere near 40 degrees latitude, on the coast of America, lay a great Sea of Verrazzano. This rumor helped to make history, as matters turned out, for it was really one of the factors that brought Captain Hendrick Hudson's little Half Moon around the point of Sandy Hook one fine day in September of the year 1609, and lured her through unexplored waters as far as Castle Island. Of course, Hendrick Hudson was disappointed. The Sea of Verrazzano was a myth, and the hoped-for passageway was only a river after all.